Now available in paperback and e-readers. John Haynes, 1987. Learn lessons about life and teenage love in the 1980s in this coming-of-age John Haynes story. Get your copy of John Haynes, 1987 in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. If you're a black man trying to do something with your life, you've got to be very careful about the company you keep. This was a lesson I learned very early in my tween years, as I saw a lot of guys mess up their lives getting involved with the wrong people. And one of the things a lot of black men really are not smart about is basically thinking about who is in their inner circle. And since they don't think about who is in their inner circle, they don't understand how the people around them can basically wind up taking them on a bad road that can wind up derailing their lives and keeping them from being able to move in a direction where they can achieve and accomplish the goals they set for themselves. Now, in previous Professor Black Truth videos, he talked about being selective about your inner circle, making examples of Jonathan Majors and Shannon Sharp, two very successful black men who wound up with their whole lives being derailed, all because they weren't very careful about the company they kept. And you, as a black man, you have to be very careful about who you get involved with, because you can wind up getting jammed up by association, because getting associated with the wrong people can basically take you from a road to success to a road where you're basically struggling to get your life back on track. And that can happen to a lot of black men, because they really don't start out with a good example as related to being a man, because many brothers don't have that father in their life to model manhood for them. Moreover, they don't have that man to model how to operate as a man when you're socializing with other men, or have that understanding of how to discern the difference between a guy who is all about his business or a guy who basically is one who is not really one that you want to be involved with, or even women that you don't need to be involved with. Again, these are male life skills that are essential for a man as related to his survival. Again, you have to really think about the company you keep, because that company could keep you from being able to move your life forward if you get involved with them and the nonsense they have going on. And that was a lesson I learned back when I was a tween, back in the mid to 1980s. Now, in the mid 1980s, we were in the middle of a crack epidemic. And as we were in the middle of a crack epidemic, President George H.W. Bush was waging a war on drugs. And as he was waging this war on drugs, we had a lot of young black teenage boys of my generation getting involved in this crack game. And as they were getting involved with this crack game to get a lot of money to be able to buy big screen TVs, expensive sneakers, and be able to live a lifestyle that would be better than the one that they had on welfare, a lot of these guys were not really critically thinking about the associations they were having. And that's where I had to understand I needed to be very selective about who I got involved with. Because as I was going to junior high school and high school, again, I was bullied by a lot of guys who wanted me to have a girlfriend, but I understood that, again, you have to be very careful about the company you keep, because the company you keep could keep you from going anywhere in your life, because getting involved with the wrong people can lead to you jamming yourself up, because they're involved with some foolishness, and you could wind up getting your life completely messed up due to an association with the wrong guys or the wrong girl. And back then, again, getting involved with the wrong girl or getting involved with the wrong guy could basically lead to your whole life getting derailed. Either you were in a situation, if you got involved with the wrong guys, again, you could be just riding in the car with these dudes, and if you're stopped by the police, what could happen to you is you could wind up on some charges as related to just being an associate in that car, and you could just be just again hanging out with your friends, but you could wind up getting hung out to dry, because if you get involved with the wrong people, what the wrong people are gonna do is they basically they are involved with some shady mess like the dope game, or they're involved with some other shady mess that's going on. And since they wind up in that interrogation room with the police, what they're looking to do is get out of that situation. And as they're looking to get out of that situation, this is where several scenarios can happen. Either one of these guys starts lying because he just wants to, again, get himself a better deal, or there's a dude who's looking to flip people and he starts naming names. And that's one of the reasons why a guy who wants to go somewhere, who's a black man, has to again roll solo most of the times. Back then, you had to walk alone because you didn't know what people were involved with or what business they were into. And when it came to the girls, it was the same thing. You wanted some of these girls, again, they were very good looking, but the whole thing is you had to think about the company they kept, and if they were keeping the wrong company, it could basically come back on you, because again, with a lot of these chicks out here, they're caught up in their hypergamy, and as they're caught up in their hypergamy, some of these chicks are basically playing different dudes, and as they're playing different dudes, what they would do is go out here and be telling things about how one guy said something or another guy was saying something about someone. And again, they really are looking to get the best deal for themselves. But as they're looking to get that best deal for themselves, they look to set you up on a raw deal, and look to set you up on a raw deal because they're looking to get this guy in a crap test to try to get him to buy them whatever they want or take them wherever they want. But in a lot of cases, because these guys have competitive jealousy, they get in their feelings, they get upset, and they go looking to pick a fight with you. And you didn't know that this chick was out here. Again, she got 2-3 dudes on a roster, and that's the type of chick who can get you messed up. That's what was going on in the late 80s and the early 90s, and again, fueled by all of that drug money. Again, many guys wound up getting shot and killed or getting beat down badly, all because they associated with the wrong people. And that's why, again, a smart black man, has to be very careful about who he got involved with back then. And a smart black man has to be very careful about who he gets involved with right now. Because when it comes down to black men, we have to understand in this system of white supremacy, we are behind enemy lines. And with us being behind enemy lines, we have to understand that we have a target on our back. And as we have this target on our back, we are being watched, and as we are being watched, we have to watch how we move out here. We have to really watch how we move. And again, as we're moving out here, we've got to watch the company that we keep. We've got to really watch the company that we keep. You really don't want to be getting involved with shady folks. No, you don't want to get involved with shady folks, because either they're gonna flip you or you're gonna wind up getting flipped. And that's something many black men don't think about, because a lot of guys out here like a Jonathan Majors or a Shannon Sharp, all they're thinking about is how they've got this fame and popularity, how they've got this money, and how they want to live a certain lifestyle. With Jonathan Majors, it was really sad. He wasn't really thinking about whose company he was keeping. No, he was still dealing with trauma from mama and other forms of abuse. And as he was dealing with this trauma from mama, as related to his black mother, again, being this woman who did him dirty, and dealing with all of these situations of abuse, he thought he could get involved with a white female, and the white female would lead to a better relationship. Unfortunately, because he wasn't thinking critically, he got involved with this woman Grace Jabari, this white female, not understanding this woman wasn't the type of company you needed to keep if you were an up and coming star. No, if you're an up and coming star, you need to be thinking about the content of a woman's character and not the color of her skin. And sadly, as Jonathan Majors only thought about the color of her skin, he basically thought, oh, this white girl would be the right one for him because she was white and was traveling in this circle. But instead of him looking at her credentials, what he did was, again, just got mesmerized by those crystal blue eyes and that creamy white skin. And as he got mesmerized by those crystal blue eyes and that creamy white skin, he wasn't seeing that this woman wasn't the right type of company to keep if you're an up-and-coming star. No, if you're an up-and-coming star, you don't go out here and be dealing with no female who likes to run the streets, because that's not good for your business. And again, that's what happens with black men. Again, when you're going somewhere, you have to understand that this is about your business, and you need someone who is focused on helping meet the needs of your business, and not somebody who's out to go out here and get paid at your expense. That's what happens when you don't really think about the company you keep in. A lot of these people, again, are thinking about getting that payday for themselves. And as they're thinking about getting that payday for themselves, they ain't thinking about your business or taking care of your business, because they're looking to make a deal on their own. And that's something you really got to think about regarding the company you keep, because again, the company you keep can either be ones that help you rise to the next level, or they can bring you down. And that's why, as a black man, you've got to be very selective about the company you keep and the people you allow in your inner circle. This is one thing I can agree with Professor Black Truth on, because it's something I've applied to my life ever since I was a teenager. Ever since I was a tween, I understood I needed to be careful about who I got involved with. And as I became a teenager and I saw these guys getting involved in the crack game, I put distance between myself and them, because I wanted to get my diploma, and I understood that getting my high school diploma was important. And if I wanted to get that diploma, there were certain people I needed to stay away from. I mean, there are people you gotta stay away from, and that was one of the reasons why I stayed away from certain guys, because if I knew they were in the dope game, again, wanted nothing to do with them, because I didn't want their stuff blowing back on me. And one of the reasons I just walked away from women back in 1989 was because a lot of these chicks were, again, out here looking to get that better deal from the dope boys, looking to get the better deal from the pookies, and that wasn't going to be a deal that was beneficial to me. And because if a lot of these girls are out here and they're involved with these type of people, you can't really work with that woman or that girl towards building anything, because she's gonna be a crab in a barrel that tears you down. And that's what happened in both the cases of Jonathan Majors and Shannon Sharpe. They were not really thinking about the people, the women they were getting involved with. No, they weren't really thinking about how they were going to add to their whole operation. Again, as the Bible states, a woman was made to be a helpmeet, and again, she's supposed to help meet your needs. And again, if she's not helping to meet your needs, she's looking to help herself out at your expense. And that's why you gotta be careful about who you get involved with. You gotta really take a minute to really look at who's in their inner circle. That's what I used to do, and I looked at the company they kept, and if they were out here with the dope boys or with the gangsters, again, I didn't want nothing to do with them, because if I'm on a track going to college, or I'm on a track looking to go out here and build with a job or a business like my SJS Direct Imprint, I don't want to be involved with somebody who's into stuff like the dope game. I don't want to be involved with somebody who's into stuff like being with these gangsters. Don't want to be involved with people who are about smoking up on Friday or Saturday night. Again, this is a person who I see is a liability. And again, you want people who are going to be assets to you. You want to be with people who are going to add to yourself and the direction you want to go in. I mean, if you want to go in a direction in your life, like you want to go to school and finish school, like I wanted to do, again, sometimes you got to cut people out of your life. But sadly, with some people, they have low self-esteem, like Jonathan Majors and Shannon Sharp do, and they go out here, get involved with the wrong people, and those people wind up bringing them down. And again, if you are a black man, again, you have to understand you have to be very selective, because there are a lot of crabs in this barrel, looking to get over on you and looking to get an opportunity on you. So you have to be very careful about who you allow in your inner circle. You have to be very careful who you allow you to socialize with. You've got to be very careful and vet people, because there's a lot of people you really can't deal with. Some folks you can't deal with because they're too emotional, and what they will do is go out here and act out. And again, that's a bad look on you if this person can't control their emotions. Others go out here and they want to spread gossip. And again, that's not a person you want to deal with, because they'll take your business and put it in the street, and again, put you in jeopardy. And others go out here and are loud and argumentative, and they can wind up embarrassing you because this person has no self-control. And if they have no self-control and they're loud and argumentative, again, people look at you and say, why are you associating with this person? Because they have poor self-control, poor impulse control, have no discipline whatsoever. I mean, this is why you gotta be careful about who you're dealing with, because dealing with the wrong person can wind up making your business bad, as a man. And as a black man, you gotta understand, with you being behind enemy lines, you don't need allies who can be turned enemies, or again, can be weaponized against you. You don't want to be around people who either are opportunists, who would look to turn on you, and you don't want to be with people who can be weaponized because they're too emotional and too out of control, or people who again can embarrass you. These are not people you want in your circle, because it's all about you again getting to where you want to go, and you don't need people who are going to be hindrances, who get in your way. You don't want to be around those people. And again, you've got to be very careful about who you deal with, and you've got to be very careful, because again, one wrong move from the wrong person can put you in a jam. That's something I learned many years ago, again, and I learned to start putting distance between myself and people. Even on social media, I'm still very distant with some people, because again, you don't know how they gonna operate. You don't know how they gonna move. And again, you have to have good discernment, and really take a look at people. Take a look at the people who are in their circles and how they moving, because they could make a wrong move that could take you down if you get too close to them. That's something you gotta be careful about, especially with your business associates, with your acquaintances, and even the women you get involved with. Again, the wrong person can take you down a bad road. And when you're a black man, you've got to, I'll repeat it once more, be very careful about the company you keep. Again, look at these people, look at the people they're involved with, look at the way that they handle business, because the way they handle business, again, can impact your business. So you really gotta be careful about how you operate out here. And the sad part with a lot of black men, we really don't think about how we operating out here. And since we don't think about how we're operating, we're not thinking about looking at who is involved with us. We're not really thinking about that critically. I mean, we didn't get that life skill because a lot of us never saw how our fathers operated or saw how men moved. But we have to learn how to do this, and it's something I had to learn. Is again, this at an early age. I mean, I learned this back in the 80s, and again, you have to watch it, because one wrong move from the wrong person could lead to you winding up losing your life, losing your job, losing your freedom. And that's why you got to really think about things. because you really have to watch how it goes. And a lot of guys, they're not really careful about choosing who's in their circle, and they don't see how that not looking at who's in their circle leads to them in a vicious cycle, because there are a lot of predators out here that don't look like predators. I mean, Grace Jabari didn't look like a predator, but she was preying on Jonathan Majors. That OnlyFans chick didn't look like a predator to Shannon Sharp, but the whole thing is a smart man, again, understands how to vet these people, read these people, and keep his professional distance and not get personal because he understands that he's out here. He's got to be about handling his business, and if you don't handle your business, someone will be looking to make a business deal at your expense. Now, if you want to learn more about how to move like a man, you can pick up many of my men's issues books, like the Simp series and other books like The Man Crisis on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find these books at other online booksellers like Draft to Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to see an example of a black man who uses discernment, you can pick up my novel The Temptation of John Haynes and books in the John Haynes series and see how this moves in action. And you can find those books on Amazon.com and all the other online booksellers I mentioned. And if you want to see me make more videos about men's issues and men's issue subjects, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl. The aspiring angel takes on a wicked teenage witch in this action-packed, all-new Esteemed series adventure. Pick up your copy of Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA, from the Black Boule, in this all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.